Flora.
Ulysses by DiCamillo.
Good job, guys. It's always important to know who your author is, because if you know your author and you like that book, then you will find other books by that author and most likely like it. Especially if it is a book in a series collection, then you know the next book you read, it's going to be something you like. It's part of the series. It becomes a no-brainer. That means you don't have to think a lot about it. You just do it. It becomes a natural way to find good books. I mentioned earlier this week I was at the bookstore on the weekend with my son, and there was a whole table of books by DiCamillo, books that I had not seen before. And so I opened it up and I looked at the copyright date. And that is in the publisher's page. After the cover, you have your chapter, then you have your cover page, which looks a lot like your cover. And then it was the publisher's page, and it tells you a lot about it. It tells you where it was published. It tells you when it was published. Sometimes it tells you how many times it went into print. Do you need to take care of that? It tells you how many times it went into print, like they made a certain amount and they all sold out, so they printed a whole batch more again. You know, like if you made homemade cookies and you ate them all, you'd want another batch of cookies, right? Well, same with books. All right, this was published in 2013. That's a good year, right? But the new books by DiCamillo, they were published in 2019 and 2020, or 2018 and 2019, recently. So that explains why I haven't seen her books. All right, chapter 29, let's think about it. Where are we? We're going out for breakfast. We're getting something to eat. We're stalling because Mira and Laura, remember? We're stalling the shovel bag dirt hole incident. Oh, go ahead, say it that way. Killing the squirrel. All right, so I thought you guys were a little more sensitive, but I guess you're, woo, you got this, right? All right. Coochie Coo, chapter 29, Coochie Coo. The giant donut smelled like fried eggs and donuts in other people's closets. The dining room was full of laughter and donut dunking. A waitress sat Flora and her father at the booth in the corner and handed them glossy, enormous menus. Flora repetitiously recommended, remove the lid from the shoebox. Oh, Ulysses poked his head out, looked around the restaurant, and then he turned his attention to the menu. He stared at it with a dreamy look on his face. Just think of it, girls and boys. You're at the IHOP. You open up the very big menu, and you're like, for me, that's pure torture because it's too much to choose from. Just give me like waffles or pancakes. Don't tell me which one to, like I could choose any which one. Anyhow, get whatever you want, Flora's father said. Order your heart's desire. Ulysses emitted a happy sigh. Pay attention, whispered Flora. A waitress came and stood over them. She tapped her pencil on her order pad. You know how those waitresses do. What can I get you, she said. Her name tag spelled out her name in all capital letters, Rita. Flora narrowed her eyes. The exclamation point made Rita seem untrustworthy. Rita. So it looks like this, R-I-T-A exclamation point. Rita. Well, what's it gonna be? Her hair was piled up very high on her head and she looked like Marie Antoinette. Not that Flora had ever seen Marie Antoinette, but she had read about her in the Terrible Things Can Happen to You issue on the French Revolution. Marie Antoinette, from the little bit that Flora knew about her, would have made a very bad waitress. Flora suddenly remembered that she had a squirrel in her lap. She tapped on Ulysses' head again. Lie low, she whispered, but be prepared. She arranged the washcloth so that he was almost completely hidden. Picture yourself at the booth of whatever breakfast restaurant you want to be at. The Gathering Grounds, the IHOP, Cracker Barrel.
Burger King.
But they don't have booths, right?
Dairy Cream.
And think about having a shoebox with a squirrel in it. And the squirrel is going to order something from the menu. Let's see how that works out. What you got there, said Rita. Where? Said Flora. In the box, said Rita. Got a baby doll in that box? Are you talking to your baby doll? Talking to my baby doll? Said Flora. She felt a flush of outrage crawl up in her cheeks. For the love of Pete, she was 10 years old, almost 11, and she knew how to administer CPR. She knew how to outwit an arch nemesis. She was acquainted with the profound importance of seal blubber. She was the sidekick to a superhero. She was a cynic. What self-respecting cynic would carry around a doll in a shoebox? I do not, said Flora, have a baby doll. And that's how she says it, all a sentence, like one word at a time. Let me see her, said Rita. Don't be shy. And she bent over. Her big Antoinette hair scraped against Flora's chin. Ew! No, said Flora. George Buckman, said Flora's father in a worried voice. How do you do? There goes Dad saving the day right in the nick of time. Coochie coo, said Rita. Flora felt a very pointed, very specific sense of doom. Rita poked her pencil into the shoebox slowly. Slowly, she pushed the washcloth around. Slowly, and the washcloth, oh so slowly, fell back and revealed Ulysses' face. George Buckman, said her father in a much louder voice. How do you do? Rita screamed a long, impossible loud scream. Ulysses screamed in return. And then he leaped from the shoebox, and at this point things stopped proceeding at such a leisurely pace. Meaning the squirrel was airborne, and time swung back into action. At last, it's in candy stove time. The superhero has to save himself, save himself, save himself. Chapter 30. So it's chapter 20. Chapter 29 was Rita. Hang on one second. Rita, R-I-T-A exclamation point, sees Ulysses in the shoe box. Sunny side up. Well, what is sunny side up if you're at a restaurant in the morning?
What? Sunny side up?
Eggs, right? I'll take my eggs sunny side up. Yes. Can you?
Yeah.
Yes. He had never been so frightened in all his life. Never. The woman's face was monstrous. Her hair was monstrous. And the word on her name tag, Rita, appeared monstrous too. Be calm, he told himself as she poked her pencil around. He held himself as still as he could. But then Rita screamed, and it was absolutely impossible not to answer her long, piercing shriek with a piercing shriek of his own. She screamed. He screamed. You know what this is like the chapter ahead that we just read? That's Flora's point of view. This chapter 30 is the point of view of Ulysses. It's why he screams. He's telling you because she looks so monstrous. Her hair, her name tag, and then she screams, so he screams. Somebody needs to close their dry erase marker. I smell dry erase marker. Put the scissors away. Every one of his animal instincts kicked in. He acted without thinking. He tried to escape. He leaped from the box and ended up somehow exactly where he did not want to be. In the middle of her monstrous hair. Of the monstrous hair. Rita jumped up and down. She put her hands on her head. She swatted. She clawed. She tried to dislodge him. The harder she hit him, the higher she jumped, the more fiercely the squirrel clung. In a way, Rita and Ulysses danced together around the donut. What happened? Someone shouted. Her hair is on fire, someone answered. No, there's something in her hair, another person shouted. And it's alive. Ah! Help me! Screamed Rita. Now Ulysses wondered, how had things gone so wrong? Only moments ago, he had been looking at the giant donut menu. Remember how he felt when he looked at that menu? Ah, dreamy. And now look at him.
Is that the score? What's the score at?
The squirrel is in her hair. Her hair is huge.
Oh my gosh.
She is Rita. Look, I forgot. This was just like yesterday, right? When he got sucked up by the vacuum. I forgot he had no hair.
Oh yeah. Not look like Rita. Yeah,
I was not picturing Rita to look like that either, but
me neither.
that's what she looks
I thought
like.
she would be skinny.
That's what I thought. I didn't think she'd be plump.
I was thinking she's gonna be brown. She does not look like that.
Interesting. Everybody had like a different picture of what Rita looked like, but we all...
Her skinny.
Okay, you said that already. We all knew she had big hair, and for that we could make a picture. But depending on what... Can you guys see this?
Oh, she's not fat at all. She's fat.
She's a waitress, and her name tag...
Look at the guy in the background.
Rita, yeah, look at the guy with the knife in the background.
I knew-
What's he gonna do? Try to get the squirrel?
Oh, he's gonna cut.
While it's on her head? Oh, please.
He's gonna cut the hair.
All right, let me read.
He's gonna cut her head off.
Only moments ago, he had been looking at the giant donut menu, captivated by the glossy pictures of the food and the dazzling descriptions that accompanied the pictures. There were giant donuts with sprinkles, giant donuts powdered, iced, giant donuts filled with things, jelly, cream, chocolate. He had never had a giant donut before.
It's not really giant.
To him it is.
Because they're tiny squirrels.
And the name of the restaurant is called the Giant Donut.
Oh yeah. Wait, what? I know that.
Actually, he had never had any kind of donut before.
What?
They looked delicious. All of them. How is a squirrel to choose? Hello, that's my problem. When I go anywhere and I have to choose something, I have such a hard time picking one because if I pick one, the others will feel bad.
So you have to pick all of them.
But I can't, I can only pick one. And to complicate matters, there were eggs, scrambled, poached, over easy, sunny side up, thought Ulysses as he clung to Rita's hair. What a wonderful phrase. Sunny side up. And it says it right there. Where is it? Sunny side up. And that is the name of our chapter. Sunny side up, thought Ulysses as he clung to Rita's hair. What a wonderful phrase. And he's clinging to her hair, saying, sunny side up. What a wonderful phrase. A man emerged from the kitchen. He had a gigantic white hat. He was holding something that suddenly flashed. A medal that flashed in the overhead lights of the giant donut. The giant donut. It was a knife.
I knew it.
Help me, Rita screamed. And me, thought Ulysses, help me. But he was quite certain the man with the knife had no intentions of helping him. And then he heard Flora's voice. He couldn't see her because Rita was now spinning around and everything in the restaurant had become somewhat blurred and all the faces had become one face and all the screams had become one scream. But Flora's voice stood out. It was the voice of the person he loved. He concentrated on her words. He worked to understand them. Ulysses! She shouted. Ulysses! Remember who you are! Remember who he was? Who was he? As if Flora had heard his unspoken question, she answered, You're Ulysses! That's right, he thought, I am. Act! Said Flora, shouting. This was good advice. Flora was absolutely right. He was Ulysses, and he must act now.
How could you change your voice?
The man with a knife stepped towards Rita. Ulysses loosened his hold on her hair, and he leaped again. This time, he leaped with purpose, and intention. He leaped with all his strength. And he flew.
What?
Ulysses flew.
Oh, fun problem.
Wow. Hang on, let me sneak ahead. Chapter 31, Wholly Unanticipated Occurrences.
What?
Or watch Ulysses fall over her.
He's falling. That's
I'll see you next week. Until then, Ulysses will be flying out of Rita's hair, hopefully to safety. We can hope.